Hey guys, Bobby Hughes here with Point Firearms, and today, or actually tonight, what we're going to be working on is canning your own homemade strawberry preserves. Now I've done another video on preserves before, and this probably won't be the last one either, but I did an apple preserves video, and in that video I talk about the different types of jelly, or the difference between jelly, jam, and preserves. Jelly is nothing more than a fruit juice that is gelled with pectin. That's jelly. So you're just getting the juice. With the jam works great for spreading because it's basically the whole fruit pureed into a mixture and then solidified a little bit with pectin. And then preserves the actual fruit. So whenever you're making preserves, you get real chunks of fruit, and but one thing to remember with that is cut it up the way that you want to can it, or the way that you want it once it's canned. Because once it's canned, it preserves that fruit in that shape. So anyway, like I said, tonight we're going to be making some strawberry preserves. And the recipe that I'm going to give you is larger than most recipes that you'll see out there. And that's for the simple fact that I don't like to open a half a pack of jars or something like that. We're going to be canning in half pints, and half pints come in flats of 12 jars. So my recipe will actually give you 12 jars of apple preserves. And if you have a full-size hot water bath canner, because we're going to be processing in a hot water bath, it's a high acid fruit. So as long as you have a normal size, I would say, because this is like the normal size hot water bath canner, as long as you have that, you can fit all 12 jars in one round. So not only are we using one full flat of jars so that when we take it out and we go to store it, we can store it back in that flat, and we also take advantage of the fact that we're using our full canner, alright, and we're not doing small batches and wasting water and things like that. So stick with me, and I'll get you the recipe and the ingredients that you're going to need. Alright, so the recipe for homemade strawberry preserves is just this. You need 10 cups of diced strawberries. And I'm going to bring that up a little bit closer for you there so you can see how I've diced them up. Alright, they're not too big, but they're not too small. I'm still going to get real chunks of strawberry when I eat this. So I've got 10 cups of strawberries cut up. That's going to average about 4 pounds of strawberries. Okay? Your next ingredient that you're going to need is sugar. You're going to need a lot of sugar. As a matter of fact, you need 9 3/4 cups of sugar for this recipe. And this comes out to be exactly 4 pounds of sugar. So it's easy to remember: 4 pounds of strawberries, 4 pounds of sugar. Alright, the other 3 ingredients that you're going to need is you're going to need some sort of pectin. I use the ball pectin. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's natural, it's real. You're going to need 9 tablespoons of pectin. So that comes out to be, let me think for a second, a half a cup and 1 tablespoon. So a half a cup and 1 tablespoon of pectin. You need a half a cup of fresh lemon juice, and you need 3/8 of a cup of water. And I know that's going to be weird because measuring cups usually don't come in 3/8, but I'll make it easy for you. If you've got a 1/4 cup, take a 1/4 cup, fill it up, and then a half of a 1/4 cup, and that'll give you 3/8. And that's all the ingredients that you need. So let's go ahead and get started making our our preserves. Alright, so before we start making our preserves, the first thing that you want to do is get everything ready, because once we start, there's no stopping. Alright? So what we've got here is I've got my canner. It's already got water in it, and my jars are already in there without the lids and bands. The lids and bands are right here. So what you do is you put your jars without the lids and bands inside your canner, and then fill the water in the canner until all the jars are full, and the water just barely covers the top of the jars. And if you do this, if it works out right, then after you take some water out to put in your pan for your seals and stuff, you empty the rest of the water back into the pot as you pull them out to put your strawberry preserves in there, then when you add them back in, the water will just cover the top of the lids. So it's perfect for our hot water. So we're going to go ahead and turn our heat on about half, about 5. And it's gonna vary depending on your stove how hot you want it, but I'm gonna start on 5 and then we'll adjust from there. So we've got our empty pot. First thing we want to do is add, of course, our strawberries into our pot. So 10 cups of strawberries. Like I said, about 4 pounds. Also go ahead and add our water, our lemon juice, and our pectin. The only thing we're not going to add at this point is our sugar. So add about half of your pectin in, and then stir your strawberries up. Strawberries are naturally juicy, so you're going to have a lot of liquid already. With the lemon juice and the water and the juice from the strawberries, you should already have quite a bit of liquid in here. So go ahead and stir about half your pectin in, make sure it mixes well. And then go ahead and add in the rest. And then mix that. Alright, so once you get all your ingredients in, I want you to go ahead and kick up your heat to about medium-high. We're going to say on 8. You're going to let it set, stir it occasionally, and bring it to a boil. Alright, so our jam, our preserves is boiling now. So what we want to do is, while stirring, because if you're not stirring, you want to, we upped our heat to medium-high. You want to go ahead and reduce it back down once it starts boiling, because this stuff will burn really quick. So we reduce it down, we start stirring in our sugar. So just keep stirring while you're pouring your sugar in. Lots of sugar. Definitely not fat-free, but at least we know what's in it. So there's about half of it. Go ahead and make sure that's stirred in real good. We'll start adding our other. At this point, you're going to start to see it. You're going to see it start to thicken up. Now you want to keep stirring it. Once you add all your sugar, keep stirring it until all the sugar has dissolved. It'll start to get thick on you, and it'll turn bright red, or a deep bright red, really deep red. So we're going to stir it until all the sugar's dissolved. And then we're going to bring it back up to medium-high heat. And you need to stir this occasionally. And when I say occasionally, I mean every 30 seconds or so. Run your spoon across the bottom of the pan to make sure that the strawberries aren't sticking to the bottom of the pan. Alright, and then let it set for a little while, let it heat back up. But what we want to do is we want to bring it to a boil, and then we want to let it boil hard for 1 minute. Alright? Now at this point in time, we need to reduce our heat on our processor a little bit. By now, your water should be pretty much boiling. We're going to go ahead and remove our lid. Not quite boiling yet, but almost. You start to get those little boiling bubbles in there. Alright, we're just going to set that aside. Now we're just waiting on this to come to a boil, and we'll start working with our jars and getting those filled. Alright, so we let our preserves boil hard for 1 minute, and then we remove it straight from the heat over here, and we're going to stir it for about 3 minutes. And what that does is it allows all the fruit to mix in with the pectin and the sugar. It lets it all mix up real well. So we're going to let it set for about 3 minutes, stirring it as we go. Alright, so we've stirred our fruit in, and it's just resting right now for a minute. This is the time that we have to make the time count. So what we're going to do is we're going to start pulling our jars out. We're going to pull a couple of them out, dump our water into our pan with our lids and bands. Set that over here. Alright, we're going to start with these 5, and we're going to stir our preserves one more time. Alright, and we're going to let it rest for a second. And what that's going to do is it's going to let all that foam come to the top. And then we want to take a big spoon and just skim the foam off the top. And you don't have to get it all, but you want to get the majority of it. Alright, so we've skimmed the majority of the foam off of the top, and I just wanted to show you guys what it should look like. So you see it's nice, and the strawberries are nice and soft. It's nice and thick, and we've got most of the foam off of it just like that. Sorry I have to set you guys all the way over here, but my battery on my camera is going on me, and I'm going to have to get me a new camera. And so just want to show you guys what it looks like. Now we've got our hot jars here, so what we want to do next is find a ladle. And we want to ladle our hot preserves into our hot jars. And what you want to try to do is get some of the juice in with the strawberries, because if not, your last one will end up being nothing but juice. And you want to leave about 3/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of headspace in your jars. Once you get your jam ladled in, you're going to take 1 jar at a time. Now remember, these are hot, so you're not going to be able to touch them real well, but you want to wipe those rims off real good, because that sticky strawberry stuff will break your seal. Or actually it'll keep it from sealing. So do 1 at a time. Grab your band, grab a lid. You'll make sure you center the lid on the jar. Your lids should be nice and soft now. And then we're going to go down and finger tight, just like that. Set it aside. And then do our next one. Just continue the process. Just be sure whatever you do, wipe those brims off on those jars before you put those lids on. Okay, so once you get your first set of 5 done, go ahead and take those and put them back in your water. And try to leave enough space in there to make it easy for you to get your next set of empty jars out. Go ahead and turn your heat on your water canner back up to high. Make life easier for you in the long run, I promise. Makes things go a little bit faster. If you have to, go ahead and pull some of your jars out for your next batch before you put the rest of your jars back in there. Alright, once your jars are sealed up and you've got your preserves in the canner, don't forget to go ahead and add a couple tablespoons of vinegar. And that'll keep our jars from getting cloudy during the cooking process. So go ahead and add a couple jars of vinegar to that, or a couple tablespoons. And then we'll go ahead and put our cover on. Crank our heat all the way up to high, which it should already be on. And now we wait for it to come to a boil. When it comes to a good boil, just keep checking back every now and then. When it comes to a good boil and it's a good steady boil, go ahead and set your timer for 15 minutes. We're going to process for 15 minutes. Alright guys, it's been 15 minutes. So our hot water bath canner processing process is complete. So go ahead and remove our pot from the heat. Go ahead and take our lid. Remember, just like with a regular pressure canner, push it away from you so the steam will exit out the back. Water drip off of it a little bit there. Go ahead and lift our jars up out of the water. Yeah, it looks good. Nice, bright, deep red. There's our strawberry preserves. Looks good. So go ahead and get these out, set them on a towel so they can cool. Alright guys, so our strawberry preserves are all done now. They're cooling, so we should start hearing the ping here pretty soon. And we've got 12 cans of fresh homemade strawberry preserves made right here in our own house. Made with fresh strawberries, and we know every ingredient that's in here. So you're not going to see a lot of savings in strawberry preserves because they're so common. You can find them. They're probably the most common preserve out there. I priced some about this size, this amount. They're roughly about somewhere between $2.75 and $3 a jar, depending on the brand that you get and all that good, what store you buy it at, and things like that. Total cost for what we did here, the 12 jars, is $22.50. That includes obviously our jars, our sugar, our strawberries, and our pectin, and our lemon juice. So $22.50. If the other stuff was $2.85 a jar, it would end up being about $34. So you're saving about $10. But the real benefit is knowing what's in it and knowing that you made it yourself. It makes great gifts. It'll last for a long time, just like any other canned item. And so anyway, guys, that's how you make homemade strawberry preserves. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Until next time, guys, get out there, shoot some guns, be safe, most importantly, have fun. I'm Bobby Hughes with Point Firearms, and thanks for watching.